What's good, Commanders fans? Excuse me. My voice is still coming back. It's not totally here yet, but thank you guys for the comments and saying us to drink tea and all this good stuff. Appreciate you guys for that. Honey and tea definitely helps. But I just wanted to make this video will be quick, like I always say. You know, usually turns out to be 10-15 minutes, but this probably will be around 10 minutes as always. Adam Peters did speak today at the coaches meeting or owners meeting or whatever meeting they're having today. And of course, a lot of the media was there. So I just want to go over some of the quotes that he said. And then I do want to talk about a rumor that came out. JP Finlay tweeted it out. And it came from, who was the beat reporter that it originally came from? I do want to shout that guy out. I think his name was Mike Reese or Mike Weiss, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. And then, of course, the Tush push is going to be banned. Mike Rice, thank goodness. I'm so happy the Tush push is going to be banned. It's not official yet, but it needs to be banned because it's not a real football play. When you're just lining guys up over the top of each other and pushing somebody forward and pushing, that's not a football play. And I think one coach said it was dangerous. And there are, it could be potentially dangerous. And I do believe that too. I do love when Frankie Louvu just flew over the top and hit Jalen Hurts in the head. I do like that a lot. Did like that. And yeah, it's just not a football play. It's really not, man. I get it. Not everybody's successful at it because not everybody's quarterback is 250. How big is Jalen Hurts? You can't really do that with Jaden Daniels. Like, when how much does Jaden Daniels even weigh? But when you have a quarterback that's 223 pounds and can squat as much as he can, that's when you can do stuff like that. But our quarterback is, how much does he weigh? Jaden Daniels is 6'4". And he weighs about 210 pounds. So Jalen weighs 221. He probably weighs more than 221. And Jaden weighs 210. So that's not our game, but it doesn't matter because we convert on fourth down anyway. We were the best fourth down team in the league without a tush push. So, but to get back to the video, the tush push should be banned. It's not a real play, and a lot of the times they're over the line of scrimmage. Like the center, his head was over the line of scrimmage when they were doing it to us. They showed it on the camera, like clearly his head was above the line of scrimmage, but they don't call it. So it is what it is. Hopefully it gets banned, and I think it will be banned. All right, so in positive news, Adam Peters, he was talking about Terry McLaurin. They asked him about Terry McLaurin and the extension, and he says, we want to make Terry McLaurin a Commander for a long time. We've had talks, and they've all been positive. So that's all he said. Of course, he didn't say much. He's not going to go into detail, but that is something they need to get done as soon as possible. I think Terry's going to get about $30 million per year. You look at the wide receiver contracts around the league and like the highest paid guys right now. Like I said, like even guys like Jalen Waddle is getting paid $28 million. Like Terry's getting paid $23 million, and he signed his deal a couple of years ago. Like Terry should be getting paid more than Jaden Waddle. He should be getting paid more than Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is making $30 million per year. Like Terry should get more than Brandon Ayuk. Tyreek Hill's making $30 million per year. That's about right. Amon-Ra St. Brown, $30 million. That's respectable. T. Higgins at 28 right now. That's respectable. DJ Moore at $27 million. That's respectable. Devontae Smith at 25. That's respectable. Nico at 24. That's respectable. $24 million per year. That's respectable. But like I said, Terry, the season he had, he set the franchise record for touchdowns. And, the contested catch rate, the quarterbacks that he's had to play with over the years, he finally gets a good quarterback, and, he's getting the recognition, man. Look at the touchdowns that he had, like 13 touchdowns in the season. You saw what he did in the playoffs, the nice catch against the Buccaneers, the screen catch against the Lions. So the touchdown catch against the Eagles, before stuff went downhill in the second half. He had 82 catches for 1,096 yards and 13 touchdowns. Played in all 17 games, and a couple games were blowouts too. So it's not like we even needed him. Like, say if the Browns game was competitive, he would have got more yards that game. The Cardinals game probably would have got more yards in that game. I'm not going to get to ifs and woulda, shoulda, coulda, but you got to look at the context of everything too. And he's always getting double teams. He's always been the number one option. The number two receivers that he's played next to have been at the likes of I like Cam Sims a lot, but it's been like Cam Sims, guys like that. Curtis Samuel was fine. Jahan Dotson was good for 1 year. But, he played next to like Paul Richardson and guys like that, and Ishmael Wright and Dontrell Emmett as his number two receivers. So, last year, look at some of the numbers. You don't really have to get into numbers about Terry. Like, yeah, Adam Peters talked about his leadership too. He got better and better throughout the season. He really did step up as a leader for the team, like a vocal leader. Like he's always been a vocal leader, but you really saw the emotion that Terry got doing the pregame speech. Like, it was usually from Jonathan Allen. Now it's like Terry McLaurin, it's Frankie Louva. Those are the two main guys that you see getting the team hyped. You listen to the Commanders log and all that stuff. Terry was one of the main guys getting guys hyped up. Like, you listen to his speech before the Eagles game when we beat the Eagles, before the Lions game when we beat the Lions in Detroit in the playoffs. Like, a lot, that was Terry, man. Terry was getting guys hyped. And you want your leadership and all the vocal stuff to come from a guy who is your best, other than Jaden. Him and Jaden are our best offensive players. Those are our go-to guys off the bat. Like, when you need a first down, you're going to Terry. When you need a touchdown, you're going to Terry. The only thing with Terry, he just needs to finish those plays and not get toe string tapped or toe string tackled like he did against the Browns and the Bears and a couple of those times where he didn't get to the end zone. But he did a better job of getting touchdowns. So Terry's that guy. He's a dog, man. Not only that, he's a constant professional. We know that. You're not going to have any problems ever with Terry McLaurin. You know, he's the guy that you want to date your daughter for real. Like, he's that kind of, he just got married. Shout out to Terry. Congrats to him for sure, man. He is that guy, man. He's that guy. So I'll talk about a couple numbers here that I did find about Terry. I think he's a top 10. I think he's a top 5 receiver. It's not a question. Like, that was the debate. Is he a top 10 receiver? Is all this stuff? He's a top 10 receiver in the league. That's a fact. He had the most contested catches this season through the month of November with 17. In the playoffs, he had 15 targets and 0 drops. He had the most receiving yards versus single coverage this year with 392 throughout the month of November. And then the catch that he had against Dallas for the 86-yard touchdown, that was insane too. The yards after the catch too. He had 12 touchdowns versus single coverage this season, including the playoffs. That was first in the NFL. So pay the man his money. Paid him the $30 million, and then I believe you save in cap space by paying Terry McLaurin too. Looking at this article from Rigo's Rag, I think, it says you save like $14.5 million by extending Terry McLaurin. So, I mean, there's no reason not to do it. So they're going to get it done, whether it's before the draft or after the draft, before the season starts. It's going to happen. They're projected to save $14.3 million on the 2025 cap if they extend Terry McLaurin. So, I mean, that's something they got to get done. We know we're going to get it. They're going to get it done. They're going to get it done. So we know it's going to happen. But all right, I want to get a quick word from today's sponsor, Atlas, and then we'll get into this report that came out. What's good, y'all? I just want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Atlas, House of Atlas, man. Make sure you guys check it out. Look at this sleek, smooth razor, man. It keeps my beard looking sharp and nice and intact. You know, get my James Harden on, my Rick Ross with the beard. Gotta keep it real smooth, real clean. And House of Atlas, make sure that you get that done, man. The blade head has 5 U.S.-made stainless steel blades that glides right through my facial hair, man, to give me that clean, smooth look. It has a high-performance serum strip that's infused with ingredients like aloe, vitamin E, and shea butter, which reduces irritation and helps prevent ingrowns. And the coolest part about it is the precision trim edge that's revealed by flipping back the serum strip for straight edges and detailing. They also have really nice shaving cream, too, with thick formula that shows me where I'm shaving and leaves my skin super, super, super soft. Check it out, guys. And now for a limited time, they're offering 15% off your first order when you purchase any razor kit in the before and after set, which includes the precision shave cream and calming aftershave. Use code Oliver at houseofatlas.com. That's HOUSEOFATLAS.com for 15% off your new razor kit and before and after set. Stop wasting money and time on shaving products that don't look good, aren't effective, and cost way too much. Visit houseofatlas.com today. Trust me, you'll love it as much as I did. Once again, the code is Oliver. Use code Oliver at houseofatlas.com. That's HOUSEOFATLAS.com with promo code Oliver for 15% off your new razor kit before and after set. All right, let's get back to the video. And shout out to today's sponsor, Atlas. Let's get back to the Commanders talk here. So this is from JP Finley. He says, little nugget from Mike Vrabel. He says, Washington, I think, would like to come up talking about, and then he also goes on to say in his tweet, the Patriots expect to have Washington up to Foxborough for a joint practice in a preseason game. Not locked in yet. This is per Mike Reese, who is an ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the New England Patriots. So, I mean, this would be good, man. Like, I love joint practices, man. I really wish it was here because I know last year we had the joint practices at the Dolphins where Jaden did a really good job where he just kept throwing touchdown after touchdown after touchdown in the red zone. And then against the Jets, it was kind of iffy. It was raining. Guys were hurt, like Brandon Coleman didn't participate. I feel like some of the offensive linemen were out too. I think Andrew Wiley was out too. So it was a couple of backups, and we kind of lost that one. Like Garrett Wilson was cooking Emmanuel Forbes, which not surprised about that happening. But I just think they're good. I think they're productive. Even when we had the one with the Ravens, even though we went 4-13, I think they were good just to get a measuring stick to go up against a playoff team like the Ravens. We held our own in the practice. We won the preseason game, which it didn't matter because it's a preseason game, but we broke their streak. But I think joint practices are productive. And I think, honestly, this year, what you want to do, like, I'm already saying I don't think Jaden should play in the preseason. I think you should get 2 joint practices and then 1 week where you just go up against yourselves in training camp and then you play against the other team. That will probably be like that 3rd week, where the 3rd preseason game where it's going to be the guys who are fighting for a roster spot. But I think the first 2 weeks we should have a joint practice and Jaden should not play in the games. I just would not risk him for injury in the preseason games. I mean, if you want to play him one series and then sit him, sure. But I kind of like what the Chargers did a couple years ago when they made the playoffs with Justin Herbert, and they did joint practices, and then Herbert would not play in the preseason games. And they went out in the regular season, and they went to the playoffs. Now, they lost in the playoffs in that first round, but they still made the playoffs. So that's my point, is that I do think joint practices help. We've done joint practices before, and they haven't done a thing. The Jets one where DJ Swearinger was beating up on Terrell Pryor, or bucked at Terrell Pryor, like we didn't make the playoffs that year. And then we had a joint practice with the Texans on Hard Knocks. We didn't make the playoffs that year either. Or the one where we played against the Patriots with RG3. We didn't make the playoffs that year either. So I'm not saying joint practices always correlates to winning, but I just think for where we're at with this team, we know who our quarterback is going to be for the next foreseeable future. Thank goodness, a franchise guy that we have in Jaden. I just don't think it's necessary to play in the preseason, but I do think it's good to get reps in joint practice. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on preseason. A lot of people think that the quarterback should play, and I understand that too. But I just think Jaden should not play in the preseason. And if he is going to play in the preseason, if he's going to run and all that, run for like 5 yards and get down. Don't even take a risk of getting it. He's a smart guy, so he's not going to take the risk anyway. We already know how he does and how smart he is. But I do like this. Going up against Drake May, too, that should be fun because, a lot of people wanted to draft Drake May, but thank goodness Adam Peters was smart and drafted Jaden Daniels. Thank goodness. Because a lot of people in this fan base wanted Drake May, man. They wanted Drake May. They really did. I'm not saying Drake May's a bad quarterback. Same thing with Caleb Williams. I'm not saying he's a terrible quarterback either. He could end up being a really good quarterback too. Like this could be a really good draft class. Like everybody in this class could end up. JJ McCarthy could fool around and come in and play well, and everybody just be really, really good in their own way. You just never know how it's going to end up. But yeah, if we had Drake May, we probably would have went 6-11, 5-12, something like that. He probably would have shown flashes. But we definitely would not have made the playoffs with Drake May, and that's a fact. So we definitely won the draft with drafting Jaden Daniels for sure. But that will be a fun matchup to see if we do the joint practice. Stephon Diggs, they did sign Stephon Diggs, but he's injured, so he's gonna most likely be out. Morgan Moses was signed by the Patriots. Hunter Henry's on that team too. Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson's on the Patriots too. So a couple of familiar faces on the Patriots for sure. So I hope we do a joint practice. Christian Gonzalez, of course, who we could have drafted at 16, but we did not. So yeah, they got a solid. I'm not gonna say they have a solid team, but they got talent over there. They got Harold Landry too, who I wanted. So those are some guys that are on the Patriots. All right, guys, you guys let me know what you guys think. As always, Terry will get the extension for sure. He did say some good things about Debo. Talking about how he's motivated and whatnot. He did say. Let's see, where is it at where he talked about Debo? I can't find it. He said, Laramie Tunsil, we really wanted to bolster the offensive line. He is, in our opinion, one of the best on the offensive line. That's Adam Peters. Adam Peters on Javon Kinlaw's freaky size. He said he can play at any weight, but 320 would be good for how the team plans to use him inside and on the edge. His best football is in front of him. So that's good to hear, too. So he had nothing but positive things to say about the additions that he made. He did talk about trading back from pick 29. Let me see if I can find that tweet here. Sorry, guys. Here he goes. He says, quote, that's certainly something that we'll consider. Quote, with what what we did in free agency and through the trades, we had the optionality to really do anything at 29. He did talk about last year, like, because we only have 5 picks. He's talked about we drafted 9 guys last year, so that's kind of his explanation to not, panic about only having 5 picks. So I get that explanation too. You still have guys that you need to develop that are, they didn't get much time, like Jordan McGee, Ben Sinnott, Tyler Owens, and Javonte John Baptiste, and Luke McCaffrey, who could definitely develop and get some more reps for sure. So I think that's an interesting way to look at it, and I understand his response as well. So, but all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. As always, Hell Commanders, peace.